Shocking moments in a Texas courtroom. A man asks a judge if he can hug the woman convicted of murdering his brother.
I don't know if this is possible, but can I give her a hug, please? Please?
Yes.
Former police officer Amber Geiger got 10 years in prison for shooting Botham Jean in his home last year, saying that she mistook his apartment for her own and believed that he was an intruder. Jean's brother Brad showed grace and forgiveness at the most impossible of times.
If you truly are sorry, I know I can speak for myself. I forgive you. And I know if you go to God and ask Him, He will forgive you.
I think even more incredible when you know that he's just 18 years old. Those words now heard by people around the world. And we're joined by local relationship expert, author, and pastor Derek Triplett. Thank you for being here.
Honored to be here.
So this is a story that really touched a lot of people. It's hard to listen to that without becoming very emotional and tearing up. What were your thoughts when you heard it?
It was a powerful display of forgiveness. And I thought about the fact that here is a young man who is able to separate the justice system from human interaction. The justice system is one thing, and it's possible to say that he didn't get what he should have gotten from the justice system, but he was able to put that aside and look at an individual who had taken the life of his brother and say, I forgive you. That is a powerful statement.
So many people struggle with this, right? We feel wronged and we say, I will never forgive you. But what are we doing to ourselves when we say those words?
One of the things that we have to understand about forgiveness is that forgiveness liberates the offended party. That when I forgive, I get the poison out of me. And that's one of the things that I think that the John family is doing. The challenge is that when you do that, you feel like you've let the offender off, that they got off the hook and now they should be punished. But the reality is that I don't want to let that live inside of me. So I have to be the person who lost his brother. I have to be the offended wife or husband. I have to be the child whose parents weren't there and say, you know what, for my sake, for my healing, I'm going to forgive you. And I'm going to take that freedom and that liberation and not let one person control me forever.
Because if you don't, you live with poison, anger, bitterness. You can make yourself sick by holding on to it, can't you?
It's very important that you know that, and there is actual research that says that those kinds of things can cause physical illnesses. Now, part of the problem that a lot of people are having is the challenge that they're seeing. They're looking at the system and not the person. It's tough being black and Christian in America, because you have to separate what Christ has taught us to forgive. You have to separate that from discrimination, racism, and all of that. And that's what I saw. I saw a black young man who was able to put aside the system and say, I'm going to be Christ-like and I'm going to liberate myself. That was a major, major feat.
And so rare, right, for an 18-year-old to have that wherewithal, the wisdom beyond his years. It truly is, I think, shocking for a lot of people. And the one thing that I heard from a lot of people is that it is the one thing they struggle with the most in their faith.
Yes.
Do you hear that a lot?
I hear it a lot. And when you understand that, you must recognize that forgiveness is a decision. It is not a conclusion. It is not an evolution. It is a decision. I must decide. There was nothing that Amber Geiger did that would cause that family to draw the conclusion that she should be forgiven. What they had to do is make a decision. And so I say to everybody, it's not about your feelings. It's not about whether they earned it. It's not about whether they deserved it. You've got to deal with forgiveness from this standpoint. It is a decision.
It's beautiful. Thank you so much, Derek. I hope it helps people at home who are watching this morning, because so many people struggle. Thank you so much for being with us this morning. All right, we're going to send it over to Jamie King. If you want to hear more from Derek, DerekTriplett.com. He's the best.